Hi, I'm Suzy Royal. I'm an independent curator here in Berlin, and today I'm going to be interviewing Susannah Garden. She is an Australian artist based here in Berlin, and we're going to be talking about the room that she recently took over and redid at Hotel Die Fabrik, room 301. And this room is now ready to be rented. If you rent the room, it looks great. We'll have some photos up about this room, and it's 10% of every booking goes to back to the artist, which is great. I wanted to ask you how you were inspired to paint room 301 at Hotel Die Fabrik. What were some of your inspirations? Did the look of the room inspire you?
So in the beginning, one of the great things about the project was that I basically had artistic license, which is something that doesn't always happen when you work with clients. And so I started looking through my sketchbooks and finding elements that I thought that maybe I could somehow like combine together. And I was working very loosely with the idea of still life, with the idea that I kind of started off with vases of flowers and some fruit and things like these, and then I started to kind of like combine them with some other characters that I had drawn previously. And as I continued, it started to sort of transform into this kind of fantasy world that's meant to be kind of like a little bit quirky and fun. And then I started to almost have this feeling that it reminded me a little bit of like very, very old school platform computer games or something like this. And in terms of using the space, I was definitely inspired by the fact that it was possible to go around the corners in the space. So I wanted it to be something that was like not just taking up one wall, but kind of like moved around the space. Mm-hmm. And I have these plant elements that are growing, and I was trying to use them to kind of like unify the space, for example, from the window right up into the middle of the composition.
Great. So you also, you work a lot with printmaking, and your prints are actually available. Some of your great prints are available on the Spend It Forward website. What type of prints are these? Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the types of printmaking you do, or the types of prints that are available on Spend It Forward.
So the ones that I have with you guys at the moment, they're risograph prints. Mm-hmm. So risograph printing is actually, like a printing machine that was made in Japan in the 1980s, and it prints using soy ink. And it's a kind of method that I discovered a few years ago, kind of by accident, and I really fell in love with it. It's actually, the interesting thing about it is that it gives an effect like a completely hand-printed print, but it's actually printed on a machine which has like rolls of this soy ink in different colors. So it's kind of made mostly according to the principle of something similar to silkscreen, and it's printed in separate layers. And there are always some natural variations with each print, and this is the thing that I like about it as well. It doesn't have that kind of like mass-produced look to it. And then the other thing that I do is silkscreen, which is obviously a lot more like time-consuming. And then in the past, I also did lino printing and etching and things like this. But it's something I would like to get back into, but I kind of feel sometimes like I'm pulled in so many directions. I'm not exclusively a printmaker, so it's just like it's one facet to what I do. So,
but your work really works as prints, because I think even when you're doing your illustrations, they have a very graphic, bold feel that comes across really nicely in the prints.
This is true, and I actually feel like I almost feel like a little bit conflicted as a creative practitioner sometimes, because like part of me just wants to sit around all day and just make like prints and graphic work that just like kind of looks strong and looks nice and maybe doesn't have so much narrative, and then the other part of me wants to make narrative-based work, and it's a little bit of a challenge sometimes.
I wanted to ask you about other mural projects that you've done, because you are a muralist as well, and I know you're not just working inside. What kind of things have you done outside? Are you working on really large-scale murals outside as well?
So my general background is in fine art, and then while I was studying fine art, when I was doing my first degree in Australia, then I discovered street art. So that's basically how I got into doing murals, and so In the beginning, I was working actually with stencils. So I was like, cutting out shapes and then like with spray cans, putting these images together. So it was quite like time consuming and involved a lot of like very, very detailed paper cutting and things like that. And so most of those works that I was doing at that time were exterior. I mean, if I'm very honest, I was also doing illegal work.
Yeah.
So I was making graffiti and things like that. And then kind of what happens with most people who are doing that type of work, at some stage somebody asks you to, you know, like, oh, can you make a print of that? Or like, can you like make that on canvas? So I also did some gallery shows with the street art work. Then when I was living in Russia, I also did some exterior walls and they were also commissions. And then I kind of took a break from it for a while because I decided that I wanted to kind of hone my skills a bit more, and then I started studying illustration specifically.
So I wanted to look at some of your other works that you're working on. This isn't the things that we're offering on Spend It Forward, but these are great collages and drawings, and you can see how it all comes together, I think, in your prints. But maybe you can tell us a little bit about the technique you're using here, what you're doing.
I'm a big fan of handmade work, and even though like I work digitally and I often edit my work digitally in the end to kind of get it like Instagram ready, I much prefer to be like literally just like working with my hands and like working with these kind of very like old school kind of fine arty materials. And I tend to work in a range of materials, so it's usually like a combination of like collage. I also run like workshops in collage, and ink and gouache and things like this, and pencils and so on and so forth. So like the work that's kind of a work in progress at the moment is actually something I started during a workshop that I was running. So a friend of mine and I run something called Sunday Sketching Berlin, which is like fortnightly meetups for people who are interested in kind of expanding their observational sketching skills. And we also ran it online during COVID. And this was like an online session where we were actually taking original artworks and reinterpreting them. Okay. So this is like based on a really kind of weird artwork by Henri Rousseau.
Okay, yeah, I can see that now that you mention that.
It just has some bizarre naked woman and a bear kind of ogling her and a hunter shooting the bear, and I was like, wow, this is so bad, it's amazing.
And so these classes that you were offering online, you're still offering them, or will you start offering them?
We have literally just moved to the offline format.
Great. Yeah. Nice, that's really nice.
Yeah, so we have an Instagram, it's Sunday Sketching Berlin, one word. So people can definitely check it out if they're kind of just like collaborative drawing sessions.
And then you do a lot with sketchbooks as well?
Yeah, this is just like sketchbook from last year, and then kind of moving into this year as well. This is also collage.
Yeah, these are great. I love seeing people's sketchbooks because it seems like it's really interesting to see the working process, and it's something very intimate that it helps you with your final process, but oftentimes the viewer is going to just see the final work.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of have this old love for actually just drawing things in nature. I really like drawing landscapes as well. So.
Great. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you're going to be in the exhibition that I'm holding this summer, at the end of the summer, and really looking forward to what we hang and have in that exhibition. It's going to be all works on paper. Okay. So we'll have to decide what you want to exhibit, but looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Definitely.